Okay, there we are. All right, welcome to what we call the MCC Entrepreneur. What camera are we on, Chad? Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, everybody is pointing to that camera, and that's what I'm supposed to be talking to. Welcome to Muscatine Community College's Entrepreneur TV show. We do this every year. My name is Jim Elias. I am a small business management teacher here at MCC. And we do a project each year that is great fun. I know my students who are with me today are going to explain how much fun they had with this project. And I call it 5 bucks in a box. And so essentially what we have done is I have on the table here a box with a whole bunch of random things. And the first project that I give the students is to just make something. Some lemons, some shoestrings, some cornstarch, a blank box, just stuff. And they have to come up with something, just an innovation. And they had no idea whatsoever that they were going to have to do this when we started. And then after they present those ideas, we go into the next great challenge, and that's what I call 5 bucks in a box. So as you'll see on the screen, the objective of this challenge is they have to in some way use all of the contents of this box, plus I give them $5 seed money, and they have less than a week to start a company. And the team that earns the most profit wins. So if we go on to the next slide, we'll talk about what the rules of the game were. As I mentioned, there's 1 week or less to start. We started this, today is Tuesday, and I gave them this assignment 1 week ago today. So they had $5 plus the contents of the box. And as I said, the contents of the box was some shoelaces, some lemons, a mason jar, a box of salt, a box of cornstarch, and some old newspapers. And they had to use all of that stuff to create something. Proceeds of this project, so all of the profits that these companies earned, will go to MCC's Collegiate Entrepreneurs Organization Business Lab Startup Fund. And as I mentioned, the most profit wins, plus bragging rights and 50 bonus points for the course. So I have with me up on the stage today representatives from each of the companies. And so to my immediate right is Laura Price. And Alex, help me out with your last name. I forget already.
Hughes.
Alex Hughes. It's early in the semester. Alex Hughes. And then up on the top is Ashley Mathis and Lucas Stoffer. Right? Okay. So Laura represents, and what I have is, go ahead and show some of these slides, the pictures as we're going through this. 4 companies. We had 4 companies. The first one, Team A, they called themselves Keep On and Raffle On. And the second, and the Keep Calm and Raffle On was represented by Sean Last, Laura Price, Brenton Perkins, Cassie Reginator, and Angela Sixtos. The second team, Pretty Putty, is represented or was composed of Faith Hendricks, Lucas Stoffer, Lindsay Pretz, Colin Carroll, and Mackenzie Sanchez. Team C called themselves the Muscatine Restaurant Discount Card, and that incorporated Ryan Broderson, Curtis Cordry, Ashley Mathis, Sarah Parkin, Angel Rulas, and McCoy Solzberger. And our 4th team, these young men called themselves Musca Vegas. And that's Devin Bonnickson, Austin Bickford, Alex Hughes, Austin Lorenz, and Coy Moore. So those are the 4 teams. And what I'd like to do at this point then, so we're going to start with Keep Calm and Raffle On. And that's Laura. So first of all, so we'll put a slide up in a minute that talks about, that kind of gives some details on your product, your labor costs, the price, how much you sold. But why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you ended up creating as a product and then selling, and how you came up with those ideas.
Our original product was the lemon lavender foot scrub. We created that out of the ingredients in the box and a few other things like household ingredients. Our project that our business turned into was a prize raffle. We went to local businesses in the area to get donations for gift certificates and prizes. And then we basically just sold raffle tickets until the deadline. And we have drawn all of them except for a grand prize winner, which we are going to draw on the show. Jim also won. Jim bought a few raffle tickets and he won 2 different gift certificates for $10 from Ellie's and what was it, $5?
$5 for Avenue Subs, and a card for coffee at Ellie's. So that's awesome. Tell us, Laura, please, about the companies that you sold the raffle tickets for. Who all did? Do you have that? I know we do have that on a slide.
We had a really generous donation from Al at Guadalajara. We also got nice ones from the Muscatine Family Restaurant, the Rose Bowl, Ellie's Tea House, Avenue Subs, Muscatine Brewing Company. We had a Sensi. We had a Sensi distributor that
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yep, Buffalo Wild Wings. Muscatine Family Restaurant, Ella Linde's, and
so the cool thing about this is what you did. You used the box of items as kind of your inspiration to say, okay, let's put some other stuff together, but use this time to be able to present the restaurants.
Right.
So right here's a list now of the companies that were part of the raffle program.
Sal Vitale's gave us a really nice gift certificate. Geo John's gave us a large 2-topping pizza. Guy and a Grill gave us 2 different gift certificates for $5 off your meal. We had some really great ones. And then our grand prize is going to be $20 for Boonies on the Avenue and $25 to the Rose Bowl. So
we're going to draw another one, right?
Yep. So this is the big one.
Get this on the air here. So this is the grand prize winner. Boonies, $20, and what else?
That was my mom again. She's already won twice, so I don't want to keep doing that. Sorry, Mom. Okay.
All right. Drum roll.
Tom Frieden.
Tom Frieden wins $20 to Boonies, and what else?
$25 to the Rose Bowl.
Wow, cool. $45 worth of good stuff.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about this is a small business management class, and what these guys then have done is given some of our local small businesses an opportunity to get in front of. So it's kind of an advertising opportunity. And as we go on, we'll see we've got another business that took that. Okay. All right, Laura, how about lessons learned? Some of my observations and things that I pulled out of here is, I know we've got a slide for this. It says, one of your teammates said, it never hurts to ask.
I think we were all really nervous about asking businesses for the donations.
Okay.
But we found out pretty quickly that the Muscatine community was really good about stepping in to help out with a fundraiser for the college. So that really boosts the morale. Yeah,
Muscatine and Muscatine businesses are very generous, very supportive of anything that we do here at MCC. So that's cool. Okay, outsourcing is important. I heard that was kind of the MVP of your team. He outsourced his work. Was that sort of the deal?
Sean outsourced his labor. We only had to charge for an hour and a half of labor for him because he actually gave his tickets to other members to sell at their work. So he sold the most tickets and cost us the least amount of labor by outsourcing.
All right, cool. Nice job, Sean. All right, partners need to be in sync. That was an observation that I learned from, and I think one of the other teams talked about planning as well and needing to plan together in a company. And if the partners aren't necessarily on the same page, then maybe we'll run into some obstacles things like that. And I added production failures teach, because I remember for the first project when I gave you all of these things. Tell us about your first effort.
Our original project was going to be a lemon saltwater taffy. So Angie and I spent about 4 hours in my kitchen 2 Sundays ago trying to make it, and by the time 4 hours was up, my kitchen was a disaster. We had to physically throw pans in the trash because of such a mess, and we completely scrapped that idea and created the foot scrub within the last 15 minutes.
So that's when the foot scrub, the lemon foot scrub came up. Mm-hmm. And that then really didn't even end up being your complete product. That was part of the product, mm-hmm. But it kind of gave you the inspiration. One last thing for you guys. We saw a picture with a plate of cookies and brownies, which were really good, by the way. How did you use that?
The last day we set up a table in the student center, and we offered a free cookie, brownie, or banana bar with the purchase of a raffle ticket. So that way, not only were you getting an opportunity to win some great prizes, but you also got a little treat right then and there for buying one.
Cool. Marketing. It's all marketing, baby. That's what I say. All right, so let's move on to our next one then. Pretty Putty. So with me up here is Lucas. Lucas, tell us about, please, what your first iteration, the very first product that you guys came up with from the first day on the assignment, and then how did you get from there to your organic silly putty?
Our first project was a facial scrub for blackheads that we did, but we soon realized when we were in the making of it and like selling it to the people that it wasn't exactly advertised as well. Like, I mean, people weren't really interested just because facial scrubs you can basically get anywhere, and it was kind of like wasn't explained enough. But how we got to Silly Putty was we took the initial items we used from the box and created something that more people would want for all ages, because Silly Putty, and it was like an organic base-bound one that was made out of like more organic products, so people would be more interested in buying it.
And had you heard of that idea anywhere else?
Somebody in our class made a Silly Putty, but we tried to make like different ingredients in it to get it to settle well. Like we looked up other recipes for it to find out what would make it hold stronger, because initially when the other group made theirs, it was pretty runny and it was like falling all over the place. So we tried to make it as a better product so it would stay together.
So cool. So that's a lesson where even though maybe competition has a product that was a good idea, but execution wasn't necessarily the best. You know, you can take that idea and run with it from what somebody else did, make it your own, do something with it. So okay. How many did you sell and who'd you sell it to? Why did people buy it?
We sold 54 units of it, and we went around campus, like especially to like the dorms, and sold it to students because we knew like students in our age group. Silly Putty's been around since we were like kids, so we knew.
I was a kid.
Yeah, since
That's a long time.
I mean, to every age group we found, and I also took a lot to work, and a lot of us took it to work because we knew like employees around. There's a whole bunch of age groups, so we knew we could sell it to people all ages. Plus, with moms and parents there, everybody has kids, so it was a lot more broadcasted like through workplaces because you knew people would have kids and they'd want it for themselves.
Okay, so the first most important lesson learned then is come to MCC and get a little silly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Because every college student is stressed.
Yeah. Okay. So on our list of lessons learned, the first one, I know a couple of you talked about this, the importance of planning. That planning is hard, but yet it's really important, key to the success of your business. And I think you guys were talking about the difficulty of planning with having multiple partners. Tell us a little bit about that.
Our group, we had like a pretty big group, and the hardest part was trying to get everybody together because every day we had initially planned out to meet up with everyone was like, it just was a bust because the first couple days, 2 of the members of was us, we were out of town, so we couldn't get in to meet up with everyone. And then when we got back, it was just really hard to get everybody all grouped up together and find a day to get it planned out. So a lot of us almost had to work separately and still have to work together just so we could get it all worked out and sell the product still without everybody having to be together, because we didn't have like one day where we all could group up.
Okay. Work separately, but yet together. That's a good lesson. Okay. And I know you also talked about learning from your production mistakes. Was that in the process of developing your final product?
When we were making our product, we initially started using the bags, like we bought like plastic little baggies to put it in. But then it soon realized that the putty would get stuck to the packaging as people would take it out. And also it wasn't like, it wouldn't stay like soft long, it would just start to harden up. So we changed it to, I got some containers from work and we started putting it in, and it was also like a better presentation of it, because with the packaging, people would probably be more willing to buy it than it just being thrown in a little bag.
Oh,
because
good.
it's a better packaging.
So there's another marketing lesson.
Yep.
Packaging. Yeah,
the packaging
good.
And how it would be sold, like it would be more better and last longer.
Yeah. Good. Okay. The final lesson learned: inventory shortages hurt. One of your team members put on the evaluation form that I think you sold out, and then what happened?
When we sold out, it was kind of almost on the last days. We didn't have enough product, and the hardest part was like getting enough cornstarch, because it took a lot more cornstarch than about all the other recipes. So that's what kind of put us like in, or it was baking soda. Yeah, I mean, no, it was cornstarch.
Cornstarch.
But yep, it started to run out. So we had a lot harder of getting our inventory set up than most everything, because we didn't have like a lot of product to sell with how much it took to make it. But we still saved a lot of money on how much we did make. But for future references, it would be better to have more products to make, like more inventory on cornstarch and the dish soap, so we'd have more to make and sell more.
So when you ran out, you didn't necessarily go out because you were almost at the end of the...
It was already at the end of the project, so it was kind of like the last minute things, because like we all brought it to work and we didn't expect to sell as many as we did, and so it started to sell out faster than we would have time to make more.
So as supply went down and demand continued to be high, you didn't raise your price?
Yeah, we kept it the same.
Okay, cool. All right. Anything else you want to throw at us, Lucas?
I think that's about it.
Was it good? Fun?
It was pretty fun. It was really fun making it, because it was just, we started to figure out like how we could make it better, because a lot of it was a big mess, but we found out that like adding less dish soap would make it less sticky and sloppy instead of like adding more, because it started to like fall all over the place, and then we ended up having a lot of mess.
Good.
But it was fun.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. All right, so let's move on to our Muscatine Restaurant Discount Card company. And Ashley Mathis is representing that company. And Ashley, go ahead and tell us what you ended up creating as your product, and how did you come up with that idea?
Well, initially, when we first started doing this, we were going to do a booklet off our first idea from our first project.
Which happened to include the silly putty.
Yes.
Okay.
The runny silly putty.
That this pretty putty team stole the idea from you guys.
Definitely.
But that's okay.
But we initially started with that, and then it was kind of, we didn't know how to move forward with that, and so we started thinking about Valentine's, because that's coming up, and then realized it's just really another holiday. So we started brainstorming. We met outside of class, actually. A lot of times we met outside of class and brainstormed. We didn't come up with an idea until Thursday, that we thought like we can do a small business promotion business card.
Okay.
So then we split up then and there in two different teams. One team went downtown to 2nd Street, walked along there, and asked all the local businesses for a donation. And the other team went to the other businesses like B-Doves, Jimmy John's, and Made Right. And multiple of them did give us donations, which we put those 5, like it was 5 different businesses that we ended up with.
Okay, so what 5 businesses did you put in your discount card?
Jimmy John's, Made Right, Ellie's.
Guadalajara was one of them. right?
No. Mommies.
Mommies.
And then I think that was the 5. Did I just list 5?
Okay. And then we have up here this
Yes.
giant Dunkin' Donuts coffee keg. Tell us about that.
I actually work at Dunkin' Donuts. So then when I went in, my big boss, the district manager that owns all the Dunkins around here, was there. So I went up to him and asked him if he had any coupons he could provide for us. And he said that he did not. The minimum he could do is about like 10 days, and I didn't have that. So he actually donated 31 64-ounce jugs that we ended up naming Mighty Jugs, Mighty Mugs. And he donated them completely to us. He did not ask for any profit back. And so that was another big sale. I took that to social media, and it sold out within like half hour.
Wow. Okay, so between the Mighty Mugs and your discount cards, coupon books, how many did you sell altogether?
We sold 62.
Okay. So lessons learned for your company. The 4 that I put on our list. The first one of your team members wrote down, if you think about the little things, they turn into big things.
Really, I think that could incorporate it with like everything that we did, like the little things of like our discussions, going out to the businesses, the little discounts that they give to us ended up like profiting a lot. Even going up to my manager and asking, that ended up with more of our profit. It's just like the little things that you try to do or go out there and do, they ended up like bursting. Like they worked out really good, and it's the little things that work out great.
Almost like one of the other companies where don't be afraid to ask, even if it's a little thing. We just ask for it, and it can turn into something bigger.
For sure.
Okay, cool. All right. One of the other team members wrote, "Never give up. Keep on keeping on." And what do you take from that?
I really take that from never give up is with the less than a week really to figure it out, and then we didn't actually figure what we were doing until Thursday. That gave us a space of a couple days to get it done, and that put a lot of stress on our shoulders. But even with that stress, we still did not give up. With the stress of like other homework to do, with other work and other activities and families, and you just don't give up. You just keep driving forward. And that's what we did.
Yeah, and that's an incredible lesson that everybody needs to learn in managing a small business, whether it's for a week or
years
30 years. Yeah. Okay. And then the last 2 lessons learned, both communication and share the load, I think they kind of go with that never give up. What were some of the communication or load sharing obstacles you might have encountered, and how'd you overcome them?
So communication, we did meet outside of class multiple times, but it was hard to find a time where all of us had that class period off or the hour off or when we didn't work. So then that was another thing that we took and went to actually Messenger. We all added each other and made a group message so we could keep communicating and basically keep in touch and keep it going. So then we didn't have to see each other face to face. We figured out just to be able to group chat so we could all see what we're all saying and all our input and how we're doing and share the load. I think all of us did. All of us drove, all of us walked. We shared the load pretty good with all of us. Is really, honestly, it was like a really shared effort. Everyone was, it was pretty equal. Like,
yeah. And from what I saw,
everyone distributed a lot. It was like different teams of everyone went everywhere to sell.
From what I saw, I saw good teamwork.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so let's move on to our 4th company team, Muskovegas, and Alex is with me here to talk about Muskovegas. So these gentlemen ended up creating and producing a handmade soap, but Alex, tell us how you lit on that product eventually after your first go-round.
Well, first we were going to sell pudding in the mason jar, but the marketing of that didn't really work out very well. So we were thinking about something else we could do, and I got a message from one of my family members saying that you should make soap. And that was a pretty good idea. So we started to make soap, and it wasn't very hard to make. It took about 10 minutes to heat it up, put it in molds, and then about an hour to harden and dry.
See, it seemed like when I was looking at some of the accounting things, one of the things that I failed to mention is they had to account for their labor, their time, and we charged them 60 cents an hour. You know, we pay big wages here at MCC. So, but it seemed like I saw a tally of 23 hours of labor. Did the soap product, was that a labor-intensive deal, or was that time getting around and collecting things? Where did most of your time come into play?
Most of the time was just, I guess, waiting for it to set up and then going out and selling it. But overall, it really didn't take that long. Selling it took a few hours just to go around to places to see if anyone wanted to buy any.
Okay.
Did pretty well, though.
Okay. So who'd you sell to? Who wanted it and why'd they buy it?
Mostly women, I guess. Men don't really buy soap.
Men don't really. Yeah, we don't mind being stinky.
Yeah. But I sold to coworkers, family, friends, some family. I know some of the other guys sold to their family members as well. But it was mostly a majority of women bought the soap.
And you manufactured 30 units, you said?
Yep.
Sold out, plus gave one away as a promotional item. Let's talk about lessons learned. The first one on the list we had, teamwork requires good communication. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it was just very difficult trying to get people to, we're texting people, trying to get them to message back or email. It was just very difficult to get people on the same page on what we were doing, and it was just a very hard situation.
Work schedules for all four of you was a big obstacle, right?
Yeah, I think most of us were working.
Okay. And I put on here is to iterate often. So one of the things that you guys made soap, and if I'm not mistaken, one of the other teams from the first project, and I think it was the Pretty Putty team, right? You guys had, in your initial project, had a soap type product. Did any of that come into play when you were doing this?
No, it didn't. I actually didn't even want to make soap because I didn't know how to. And once I got that message from my family member, she told me it was very easy to make. And it was completely different from what the other team made.
Okay. So you didn't steal the idea from the other team who stole their idea from the other team.
No.
Okay. All right. And then the last lesson learned we had on here, I wrote down life happens. I got a message real early this morning about one of the team members that Alex has so graciously stepped in to fill his spot. So emergency came up, wasn't able to be here. So any other life happen moments within your team that kept you from being successful or helped it be successful?
I mean, other than work, I don't think so. And just communication, that was probably the biggest mistake we had.
Yeah, okay, good. Well, I have to say, I appreciate the four of you and the whole class, because last year and other years when we do this, because I only give you a week or less, a lot of people really, really complain that, well, you didn't give us enough time, and I would do it on purpose. But you guys didn't complain about not little time. But even the life happens that we wrote for your lesson learned, one of the other teams, Laura, I know your team, we had 3 moms that were home all weekend with sick kids, and some of them sick themselves and things like that. So yeah, life happens and it gets in the way of what we have to do for business. So, what we have to do is rally and keep going, and I appreciate how well you guys did. So we have to get to the big unveil. These guys, they've been anxious to find out, okay, well, who did the most sales, who wins bragging rights. So I guess let's go ahead and, where's Austin? He was going to cheer, right, with all the good stuff. Give us that last slide, would you please? Okay, so here's the total final results. Keep calm and raffle on. Total sales, $387. Their cost, $16.40 for a net profit, $370.60. Pretty Putty. Total sales was $54. Their cost was $10.53 for a profit of $43.47. The Muscatine Restaurant Discount Card, total sales $310. Total cost was $27 for a net profit of $283. And Vegas guys sold $87 worth of soap, and their cost was $36.25 for a net profit of $50.75. So, obviously, from that slide, the winners are the team Keep Calm and Raffle On.
Woohoo!
A big
I'm happy.
woohoo! So thanks to everybody for this. Really, the big winners from this is, I believe, everybody in the class. Once we get done with this, we're going to go back to the room and we'll process the overall lessons learned and move on with the rest of the semester and hopefully start learning more about how to run and manage a good small business. The MCC Collegiate Entrepreneurs Organization is a big winner. What was the total amount? $747 that will go into the college business startup lab kind of fund to help students do some stuff like this. But the real big winner is the community of Muscatine. This community is very generous. I've been doing this for many, many years, and it never ceases to amaze me how generous Muscatine is and what it does for our college and our community. So with that, I think we will wrap up. And thanks for watching. Thanks, my students and everybody, for having a great time with this. And we'll see you next year. That's a wrap.